Morning, Trainiacs. Just a tidy little 20-minute recovery ride after spending the entire day yesterday lifting wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of soil, getting the backyard done. It's beautiful. But today, it's not about soil and sod and all those things that my dad really loves and I despise. It's about comparing the original CycleOps Hammer Smart Trainer to the new CycleOps Hammer Smart Trainer H2. H2, as our French pals would say. Old. New. All right, so despite this camera angle making these look like entirely different units, the differences between the old CycleOps Hammer and the CycleOps H2 are pretty minimal. Now, getting right into the updates, you can see that the finish is quite different. This is like a metallic finish, a dark gray. It doesn't have the orange bits that the original CycleOps had. This has increased accuracy of plus or minus 2%. This was stated at plus or minus 3%, but a lot of testers said that it was closer to 2%. This now has a built-in cadence sensor, so you don't have to go and buy a cadence sensor if you don't already have one. And if this isn't connected to something like Zwift or Trainer Road or Sufferfest or Rouvy, any of those smart trainer apps that typically powered this or the Kickr or the Tacx Neo, this can actually function almost identically to a fluid trainer. You just plug it in and you ride. I don't know why anyone would do that though. Terrible. Now, the list of similarities is quite a bit longer than the list of differences. There was no cassette that came with this. There's no cassette that came with that. So if you don't have one, you're gonna have to go buy one and install it. It also plugs in and connects to Zwift or whatever trainer app you're using via ANT or Bluetooth and does it like right away, instantly. This has probably been one of the most reliable things that I've ever had pairing to any sort of Bluetooth app. So that was really nice to stick with that. It's the same 64 decibel rating at 20 miles an hour that this was, which is like library quiet. Apparently the new Kickr is quite a bit quieter than the 2017 Kickr, but I had never found this to be very loud. I hear that the Tacx Neo, you see how I say that? Here, is even quieter than that, but like this is basically all you're hearing is the cassette and your chain with that sort of friction. Essentially, you can be in a room with people, have a conversation, and this isn't going to be drowning it out. Let's actually flip that around so you can see that. This still has the same 20-pound flywheel as that, which is heavier than the Kickr, which means that there's more inertia that's gonna keep you rolling forward, give you that road-like feel that you get when you're out on the road and you stop pedaling and you still coast. That's heavier than the 2018 Kickr, but for one reason or another, this seems to have a bit of a smaller footprint than that. I measured it up and it's fairly negligible, but this, I don't know, maybe it's the paint scheme on it. It just seems to be a little bit smaller. It's a little bit bigger than the Kickr when I had that in, but it's also quite a bit smaller than the Tacx Neo as far as the footprint goes. It's 47 pounds. It goes up to 2,000 watts at 20 miles an hour and simulates a 20% grade, exact same specs as the Wahoo Kickr, whereas the Tacx Neo has 2,200 max watts and goes up to a 25% grade. As far as pricing goes, this is the same $11.99 as this was when it came out. It's the same $11.99 as the Wahoo Kickr, but it's cheaper than the roughly $1,500 of the Tacx Neo. Now, here's what the marketing guy from CycleOps said to me. I don't think the messaging of the H2 is, wow, this thing is crazy better than the Hammer. The story is more about, wow, CycleOps continues to make improvements, and because they're a small family-owned US company, they're able to make those necessary changes quickly and effectively. So think of it not like a big, massive change. It's more like an iteration, something similar to what happens year by year with the iPhone, where we go from the iPhone 7 to the iPhone 7S. And what they do is they take a lot of the things that are small little incremental improvements that they would have liked to include in the original design. They make those improvements and they update all of the software and the firmware that was getting patched on over and over to the original, and it's just included in the new model at the same price. So if you want the latest and greatest and you don't want to have to upgrade all the firmware to get this device functioning almost as good as this, minus just a little bit of accuracy, and cost isn't necessarily an issue, go with the CycleOps H2. I've used it a few times. It's basically identical, like they say, to this, but just has a little bit less of a learning curve, a little bit nicer setup experience, just a little bit nicer riding experience. It's right in there with the Wahoo Kickr, the Tacx Neo, those premium smart trainers, like the best of the best. They're all pretty much interchangeable. I like CycleOps for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's owned by the same company that owns PowerTap, Ceres. And they take care of their customers so well that when I was in Port Elizabeth, I was having PowerTap P1 power pedal problems. And without question, even though it was Friday, South Africa time, 2 p.m., they overnighted and shipped me Saturday morning new PowerTap Power P1 power pedals so that I was ready to go for the race. And I've heard multiple stories, not just from Ceres, that this is the way that they treat their customers. And they've shown that by partnering up with the Trainiacs, that if you are part of the Trainiac community and we want to save a little bit of money on this, Trainiacs who are part of the new team training platform, which you can get on the team waitlist for if you go to triathlontaren.com/team waitlist, get a discount on this or that, or you can just buy this. They knocked the price down of this. But we'd like to have you on the team. So there you go. That's the new CycleOps Hammer H2. So there you go. That's the new CycleOps H2. That's the CycleOps Hammer original. My name is Triathlon Taren, and you've just been, I don't know, what do the YouTubers say? You've just been filled in? Is that what Philly D says?
Just bite fills.
I was intentionally doing that. Subscribe, do whatever. You know what, just...